Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. You know, I could almost just repeat what you've just said. You mentioned among the things that you talked about right now were the fact that this committee works in a nonpartisan way, and it's true. Very few committees in Congress work the way this one does, and it's because of, frankly, the leadership of the committee. It's been that way regardless of who was in control, and it remains that way with you as chairwoman and as Mr. Oberstar as chairman of the full committee. This is one of those issues where we frankly speak with one voice, absolutely speak with one voice. And I want to first thank you for holding this hearing. It's a key hearing. It's one that I know that you have been talking about for a long time, and we've just never had all the right information until now. Now we have it. So for almost 2 decades, this committee has been one of the few voices talking about this issue. And you know, we've argued for smaller courthouses, for courtroom sharing, for stronger GSA management of the program, and although, again, we suspected that courthouses were overbuilt, we didn't have the actual data. Today, the General Accountability Office is going to present its review of every courthouse constructed in the last decade. And the findings of government waste, mismanagement, and disregard for the congressional authority and authorization process are, frankly, unacceptable and appalling. First and foremost, there appears to be a complete, absolute breakdown in the management and oversight of the courthouse planning and construction. And as a result, GSA built, as the chairwoman said, 3.5 million square feet of courthouses, costing over $800 million, almost $1 billion, which we just don't need, and which frankly should have just never been built. Let's kind of put that in perspective right now. That's as if we built 3 house office buildings, including the one that we're in, 3 of them, and left them empty. Think of that concept. You know, when you're walking through this building and you see the size and the scope of this building, think about 3 of these buildings empty. That's what we've built using taxpayers' money, precious taxpayers' money. Totally, totally unacceptable. According to the GAO, the 3 main factors the chairwoman already talked about: construction of courthouses that exceeded authorized size, the overinflated projections for future of judges, and the lack of courtroom sharing. You know, I was just reminded a little while ago that this committee has 6 subcommittees. I don't believe we have 6 meeting rooms like this one. We share the meeting rooms. And, you know, I know that a lot of people will argue that Congress is not necessarily the most efficient institution in the planet. However, that illustration alone will tell you how problematic this overbuilding of courthouses has been, because they do not share. Even Congress shares, but the courthouses do not. Again, the GAO reviewed 33 courthouses built since 2000 and found 28 exceeded their authorized size limit. To add insult to injury, GSA officials responsible for the construction of several courthouses didn't even know that they were overbuilt until the GAO mentioned it to them. Excuse me? Can I repeat that? I think I need to repeat that. Again, GSA officials responsible for the construction of several courthouses did not know they were overbuilt. These are the people who were responsible for them until GAO told them. That's what my understanding is, and I hope to hear a little bit about that. And again, on top of this mismanagement, the courts continue to base their space decisions on projections that have been shown to, frankly, not be real, to be flawed, to be unreliable. Another 887,000 square feet of unneeded space was built because U.S. courts, the models for projecting the numbers of future judges were overestimated by 35%. We're not talking about a small margin of error here. We're talking about huge percentages, 35%. For example, in 1995, the Long Island, New York courthouse had 14 judges, and the courts estimated 25 judges by 2005. After building a brand new courthouse, there are now only 15 judges at the courthouse, one more than was previously there. And today, the courts continue to base their space decisions on those bad projections, despite nearly 2 decades of experience that have shown us that those are just wrong assumptions and failed experience. Finally, let me Finally, yet more space and money could have been saved had the courts instituted a courtroom sharing policy. And I mentioned that a little while ago. The chairwoman has mentioned that, and I want to reiterate what she said. A sharing model developed by the GAO clearly indicates that sharing could have reduced the number of courtrooms by about 40%. 40%! Or 950,000 square feet of space. Those are serious reductions that the taxpayer should have not had to pay for. Increases of space that the taxpayer should not have had to pay for. These estimates are based on the court's own data of courtroom usage, including canceled events and non-judicial ceremonial uses. We hold a trust for the American people, and it seems that that trust, in this case, has been broken. Courthouses have been built way too big for way too long and for more money than was ever needed, and that's the taxpayers' money. They have the right to expect that their money is being used efficiently and effectively, and here's a case where we can demonstrate has not been the case. This committee has been mentioning that for a long, long time. We have received basically a stone wall, but I think now we have the information that proves it. So while it is clearly important that the judiciary have the appropriate space to carry out its constitutional functions, and we all support that, we must ensure that we are good stewards of taxpayers' dollars and that we're not just blowing money and throwing it away for no good reason. And I hope today that we can hear from the witnesses to examine those issues more closely. I also hope that the committee will use this information that we gathered today to better inform our decisions on current and future courthouse authorizations. Again, this committee has been mentioning this for a long time. We have the data. I want to really thank, once again, not only for the hearing that we're having today, the chairwoman. I want to thank the chairwoman for that, but also for his steadfast leadership on this issue. This is not new for you, Madam Chairwoman. You've been talking about this for a long time. You've been right. The committee has been right, and the data is there to prove it. Now we need to obviously take it to its next logical conclusion. I want to thank you for this hearing, and I want to thank the witnesses for being here today. Thank you.